What up? Episode 12 of the Honey Bunches of Goats podcast. I'm your man, Kyle.
Raul.
KJ.
We're here. Episode number 12,
baby.
guys.
Whoa.
What up? It's, we're here hitting the culmination of a lot of sports seasons right now. We hit the end of the NBA season. The MLB, the ALCS and the NLCS are going on right now, so we're close to the end there. I mean, football is in the middle of its season, absolutely. So, and then of course, you know, NHL finished their season last month. So it's been a pretty exciting month, you know,
Yeah, man.
of sports. It's been pretty dope.
I put it like this. Friday, you had the Navarrete Villa fight, plus you had Game 6.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So all that in one night was crazy to jump back and forth.
And earlier in the week there was the Yankees, the Yankees and Rays completed their divisional series. Unfortunately, the Yankees lost 2-1. We'll cover that a little bit later. Overall, it's been, you know, pretty dope, like I said. But anyway, let's get into the Navarrete Villa fight. El Vaquero,
My primo.
Vaquero.
former
Dime.
122 champion, moving up to featherweight now, trying his hand at 126. What was your opinions of the fight?
So, typical classic Vaquero, Navarrete.
Long fighter for long and tall fighter
very
for
lengthy, very tall,
Yeah.
very awkward too. He's gonna throw you shots in volume at a very awkward, weird angles. But this fight, breaking it down, he won it. But Villa was not a pushover.
No, no.
He was on his bicycle the whole night. But if you're gonna fight a fighter like El Vaquero, you're gonna have to be on the pedal.
Yeah. I the one thing that really, like, I was really intrigued by that fight was Vaquero looked like his body looked full at 126. I didn't think that. I thought that moving to 126, like, he would just fill out. But you know, like, usually sometimes like, especially Mexican fighters, when they move up that first fight, they look a little like they may be a little bit pudgy or something like that. But his body looked like really, like, full and like he looked like a true featherweight. And, you know, considering, I mean, he was a tall 122 champion, and he's still a tall 126 fighter at this point right now. So his body looked really filled out, looked good. He looked strong. He definitely won the fight very, like, easily. Not super impressive, but definitely for your first foray in a new division, I feel like it's the type of performance that's you know, encouraging in a way. And like you said, he's awkward. He hit Villa with that nice uppercut, like that.
Oh, in the first and fourth round.
It was a lead uppercut, right? It was
Yep.
his left uppercut that caught him, like, it was like a looping shot that really stunned Villa at that point.
Sat him down quick.
Yeah, in the first round too.
Yeah.
And Villa was looked pretty decent in that opening round too.
Yeah, and you know what? A quote that Timothy Bradley said after the fight is, it wasn't Vaquero's typical style where he just comes at you in full volume and finishes you off. He, after the fourth round, it looked like he kind of went to sleep. He didn't put as much as I wanted to. But again, Villa, he was on that foot pedal.
It was leaning a little bit more towards like a sparring session towards the end.
Yeah, towards the
end. And
end.
I don't mean it in a bad way, as like where Navarrete was whooping Villa's ass, but more like there was a kind of like like both sides were kind of taking their foot off the gas pedal in a way. But clearly, it looked like Navarrete was the better fighter.
No,
you know?
for sure.
And now he's in a stacked 126 division. You know, there's a lot of good fights out there.
Gary Russell,
perennial champ. Also
Josh
Warrington, who's trying to, you know, he's a name that's probably I would say probably the biggest name in that division. Like, Gary Russell's always been there, but Warrington certainly has been a very popular fighter in the UK. So I would say he's probably the biggest name in terms of money, you know.
One fight that his promotion, Top Rank, wanted to set up was Jesse
Magdaleno, yeah.
Yes, I can't pronounce his last name for the sake of mine, but
he was also, I believe, a former champion, right? He fought.
He fought recently.
No, Jesse Magdaleno. I think I remember seeing him fight. damn, off the top of my head, I just blanked out. Yeah, but you know, I mean, there are some opponents out there in 126. You know, I believe there's also Kid Galahad, also from the UK as well. He's in. Also, we also have Zhu Khan, that the Chinese fighter. His last fight was against Manny Robles. I think I saw that. I only saw parts of that fight. And then always, you know, Carl Frampton is somewhere in the mix at 126, 130. I think Frampton has been linked to the 130-pound division more recently, but he's also in there. And then, of course, Jesse Magdaleno, like you said, it was, you know, in the mix as well. So 126 is a lot of people have been moving up, you know, from like featherweight to light featherweight, and then from featherweight to super featherweight, and then some people moving up from super featherweight to lightweight. So there's been a lot of kind of like move ups, and Navarrete was one of those guys that were moving to a bigger division.
Yeah, and you know what? Because of it, now he could call himself a 2-division world champion.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's and just in general, from 126 to like 135, there's just like a glut of fighters that you can mix it up. A lot of interesting matchups there. And now seeing Navarrete fill out his body at 126, and especially at his height, he can easily go to 130. You know,
For sure.
Not that he needs to go right away, but if there is a big fight out there, there's interesting matchups. Tevin Farmer at 130. You got who's the guy that Tevin Farmer lost? Jojo Diaz, out at 130, who also came from 126.
Oscar
Valdez is there at 130. There's
so many opponents.
You can mix and match
potential matchups for sure. Yeah. And you know what thing about Navarrete? He has that swagger to him.
Yeah, it's like a quiet swagger. Like he definitely has boxing skills. He's awkward, and he's very tall, especially for this division. Like I said. So he has that like there is that X factor to him.
Yeah.
He can make a difficult fight for anybody, even I guess fighters that would be favored.
It's the Navarrete in him.
Yeah. Yeah,
yes, sir.
He's Raul's cousin, so he has a shout out to fam. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to the Navarretes.
How old is Navarrete, by the way?
I think 29.
Oh, okay. So he's fairly older.
Well, usually that's your prime in boxing.
Yeah, 29 is not that old. If you want to say old, look at Manny Pacquiao. He's still 40 and kicking ass.
Yeah.
That's the Filipino blood.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry about that. No, he's actually 25. He's born in 95.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
Oh, he's young.
Yeah. I mean, and he's 5'7", which is, pretty decent height.
Since you have the stats on Kyle, where is he from? What part of Mexico?
It just says Mexico.
Because my dad was very curious about that.
Let's see.
I should know this, guys, but.
I know. He made his name when he fought Isaac Dogbo. I saw both of those fights, and man, he looked really impressive in both of those fights. And Dogbo is also one of those guys who kind of made a name for himself in that division when he beat Jesse Magdaleno for the championship at 122. So, listen, a lot of interesting matchups in general. I think you can just pull names out of the hat at this point, and everything would be. But we have NFL news to cover, as always. We always break down what happened in the week and what's happening in the NFL week coming up. So, again, action-packed. I always say every week is action-packed, but I feel it's just because it's like I missed football so much that it's just like I'm just excited to have a football back,
When you have a sport that airs. Now, Kyle, talking about this week, we're getting 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you get it so little in the week, it's gonna be action-packed for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Especially because we do play football, by the way.
And it's a high physical contact sport.
Yeah.
Compared to a sport like golf, come on, guys, it's high action.
Listen, we do cover a lot in the world of sports, but golf is probably something we will never touch.
Look, I'll tell you guys something. If I have a couple of millies in the bank, I will definitely be a fan of golf. But until then, I'm not a fan.
Oh man. Anyways, hey, let's go to the breakdown, guys.
Let's get it. First game.
We actually covered the Bears Buccaneers match on our last podcast because it was a Thursday night game. but we all know what happened. Bears won 20-19. Tom Brady forgot how many downs were there. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.
Talk about a brain fart.
Brain fart.
So let's get into the other games of this past week. We had the Panthers beating the Falcons 23-16 in Atlanta. Teddy Bridgewater, he's been putting a string of nice games together. He had 313 yards, 2 touchdowns. Todd Gurley had a great game, 14 carries, 121 yards, and a touchdown. And so did Ridley. I feel like the Falcons' offense is not bad whatsoever. I mean, I except for, Matt Ryan kind of, making some mental mistakes with his interceptions. But this was the game that got the head coach of the Falcons, Dan Quinn, fired. And, last week we asked our opinion, like, do you think that this is going to be Matt Ryan's last year, which I think we all agreed it's probably going to be his last year. If the Falcons, who are currently sitting at 0-5, continue this downward trend, they're probably going to be in the mix for either Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence if they they don't turn the season around. Who do you think would be a better fit as a quarterback to replace Matt Ryan at this point?
I think for the most part, the superstar quarterback coming from the draft is
Trevor Lawrence.
From Clemson.
Who was the other name? What was the
Justin
other name?
Fields from Ohio State.
Justin Fields.
So
Yeah.
I think for the talk about hype and talk about the status, I think he will definitely fit the Falcons.
Oh, so you like Trevor Lawrence for the Falcons?
Yeah.
What about you, KJ?
It's funny that you say that. I've been watching Trevor Lawrence for a while now, especially his YouTube videos that he's put up when he was in high school. And Trevor Lawrence, man, he looks like the real deal. So
Yeah.
I definitely take him over Matt Ryan right now with the way he's playing.
Okay, I actually like Justin Fields for this team. He's clearly talented. I don't think he has I think he's physically, overall physically more talented than Trevor Lawrence. But I think Trevor Lawrence has more arm talent. But it would be dope. Like Atlanta is a majority black city. To have another black quarterback who is playing well would be pretty interesting. Because the last time they had it was Michael Vick, and Michael Vick ruled that city while he was a quarterback there. I don't care about race. It's whoever does the job the best. But Justin Fields is just up there with Trevor Lawrence as well. So I wouldn't mind seeing him. And especially with that type of offense, you have Calvin Ridley. You also have Julio Jones. You have Todd Gurley, who he averaged almost 9 yards a carry in this game. It would be interesting to see what a rookie can do, a rookie with talent can do in the system. Maybe not light the world on fire because they would be a rookie, but they do have some weapons already in place. So it's pretty dope to see what's going to happen with the Falcons, especially if they decide not to keep Matt Ryan as the starter. We also had probably the upset of the week. We had the Raiders put the beats on the Chiefs deep passing defense. They beat the Chiefs 40-32 in Arrowhead Stadium, might add. There's no crowds, but Derek Carr went off for 347 yards and 3 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs had 2 touchdowns, and Ruggs, he had 2 receptions, but they went for 118 yards. So that's a catch average of over 50 yards per catch. So
59.0 to be exact.
Yeah. So I have 2 questions real quick off the top of the head. Are the Raiders legit for the playoffs? I think we covered this, but now that with this win,
If I remember, I probably said no.
Mm-hmm.
And even with this win, I'll go ahead and say no again.
Okay, all right.
There's so much talented teams in the league.
especially in the AFC.
Yeah.
What
it's
about
gonna
you,
be
kid?
tough.
Looking at the division now, it looks like they have to take down Kansas City in order to make it into the playoffs.
They already got 1 win down against the Chiefs. They gave the Chiefs the first loss of the season. So, and another thing is, do you with the Chiefs' problems in the deep passing defense, do you see this as a serious issue going forward for the rest of the season, or do you think they shore up their defense?
It's a learning experience. They're gonna look at tape. They're gonna see what they did wrong and try to perfect it or even work on it.
Yeah, I guess when you're a team that has Pat Mahomes, it's listen, you
your
got Pat Mahomes. That's all you gotta know.
Your offense would pretty much cover the defense.
Your
part.
defense can have a bad day.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
have a bad game once in a while.
And the next game we had the Cardinals beating the Jets 30-10.
Shit.
What can I say about the Cardinals that other than the Jets were trash in this game? Listen, this was the game that I guess really pissed off Le'Veon Bell, and we just got news today that Le'Veon Bell got released. There's some background to that. After the game, Le'Veon Bell did not make himself available to the media, and like tweets on Twitter that were critical of the Jets and Adam Gase. And the fact that Le'Veon Bell, who didn't have a bad game so much, did not get enough touches. Le'Veon Bell's gone. They've already traded the president, Jamal Adams. Is Adam Gase the most disliked head coach
Hell yeah.
of all time?
Yeah. I'm not going to let you finish that. Yes, he is.
What do you think?
He's bro, if it wasn't already a fact, or if it wasn't already like an obvious thing, obviously is now, because there's a lot of outspoken players going on in the Jets organization. Bro, if there was players that were speaking out on the intensity of practice, what makes you think people
You're
are
talking about practice,
man?
Yeah. Well, clearly, if you didn't know now, you can tell who the Jets fan is amongst this group.
For sure.
I listen, as a Dolphins fan, I warned you. I remember I told you about Adam Gase, and I told Raul, I'm like, now you know how I felt during that last season of Adam Gase's tenure with the Dolphins. Just frustration, and it's a different type of frustration. It's like a frustration where you're just like, you're just so mad with the way that things are going, but even more so of like, yo, the head coach is trash. Like you can argue that Adam Gase is the number one problem with this Jets team. It seems like no one likes him.
Yeah, and you know what? A coach is obviously going to be that presence in the locker room to uplift your team, not destroy it.
Yeah. He seems to have some type of problem with connecting to his players, and it's been apparent since his Miami days. Look at Ryan Tannehill; he's flourishing now that he's not with Adam Gase anymore. He's flourishing. The Dolphins are looking much more improved under Brian Flores.
I wonder what the fuck does Peyton Manning see in this guy that
he. You know why Peyton Manning liked him? Because Peyton Manning called the plays.
He let him do whatever he wants. But
every quarterback likes an offensive coordinator that lets him call the plays at the line of scrimmage.
Jesus Christ!
At this point, Peyton Manning would be a better offensive coordinator and a better head coach than Adam Gase at this point.
It's one thing if you're gonna promote and say good things about Papa John's, which he's paid to do, but what the fuck are you gonna say about Adam Gase? At this point, I think his credibility in recommending stuff is a little bit past him now, because I'm not going to believe anything Peyton Manning says now.
Oh, real quick before we move on to the next game, where do you think Le'Veon Bell lands?
He's a free agent now, right? He just recently released.
Hey, yep. God bless him, man. He did a pretty good job, even though
considering what he had to work with.
Even though he didn't get enough time to shine, you did see the talent that he had, and he could provide to any team in the league. So whoever picks him up is gonna guarantee to have a very great athlete on their team.
Like I was saying earlier when we were talking about it in our pre-production meeting, I wouldn't mind seeing him go to back to the Steelers. Listen, I'm all about NFL players getting paid. Don't get me wrong. And Le'Veon Bell, while he was with the Steelers, wanted to get paid. But sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And, literally because the Jets are the green team.
Shots.
So it goes to show you that, just because you're an all-pro running back for one team, you can, overestimate your value. And the only team that signs you is a very dysfunctional team, and then in which the GM wanted you, but the head coach didn't even want you, and you play for a guy that you hate because now the GM is gone. And I wouldn't mind seeing him back with the Steelers. Maybe they can reconcile some things, and James Conner is hot and cold. And imagine Le'Veon Bell on that squad. It would be a nice, well-needed boost to the Steelers offense, who they seem to be playing pretty well this season, now with Roethlisberger back.
Yeah, I don't think Pittsburgh is an organization that's going to hold on to grudges. If anything, welcome him back with open arms.
Well, I mean, they don't have to pay him that much because he already got his guaranteed money from the Jets. So, I mean, if he's willing to pay for a little bit under the market value, I'm pretty sure the Steelers will be welcome back with open arms.
At this point, let it be a welcome back.
Yeah. Talking about the Steelers, they also beat the Eagles at home 38-29 in the Battle of Pennsylvania. Carson Wentz played okay. Again, struggling in the beginning of games and then turning it up towards the end. They gave the Steelers a bit of a scare, but they eventually pulled it out, the Steelers. So my question to you is, in this game, the Steelers are 4-0. They look like they're heading to the playoffs.
That's what I'm talking about.
What is Carson Wentz's future right now in Philadelphia? Do you think maybe not his last year, but if he continues to play unevenly, do you think that they seek outside help or even put in Jalen Hurts? Do you see this being kind of like the beginning of the end for Carson Wentz in Philly?
That's tough.
That is.
Off the top of your head, give me something.
Carson Wentz, I mean, he's a great quarterback, and he's still early in the season. So I'd say give him a little more time to adjust, because it's still, he's the 1-3 right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Jalen Hurts put in any game this season.
Whoever wants it most. If Jalen Hurts wants to battle for that position and that title, at this point, it's perfect timing for him. Let him do so.
I think if Philly basically falls out of playoff contention by week 10, you're going to start seeing Jalen Hurts starting for the Eagles. Not so much because they're giving up on Wentz, but I think maybe preserving Wentz for next season and seeing what Jalen Hurts has to offer at that point.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah. They could have a potential quarterback like the Chargers have in Justin Herbert.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to our next game, we have the LA Rams beating the Washington football team in Washington 30-10.
Blowout.
This was the game that Dwayne Haskins sat. They had Kyle Allen starting the game, got injured, and we saw the first appearance of Alex Smith in over 2 years. Suffering that horrific leg injury, working diligently in rehab, and finally making it back on the playing field.
That's respect.
Yeah,
respect to Alex Smith.
I think we know.
To you, Alex.
We know. I mean, there are some unanswered questions about the Rams, but we know that right now they're on the right track. As for Washington, does Dwayne Haskins get back into the starting role sometime this season, or do you see his season is done at this point?
I mean, the way things are going for the Washington team, it's done.
Yeah. What about you, KJ?
I mean, with his potential, his size, I would like to see him back on the field for the Washington football team. Okay.
All right. That's fair. He was very talented in OSU, despite only starting one season. He hasn't played a lot of football, so in college and then in Washington, the change of the guard, moving on from Jay Gruden to Ron Rivera, it's not easy for a rookie quarterback having to learn all new systems. So, hopefully we'll see him some point this season. We also had the Ravens beating the Bengals at home 27-3. This was, you can arguably say, Joe Burrow's worst performance this season so far, in a season in which he played pretty well up to this point. Again, the Ravens, we know what's up with them. They're 4-1.
Monsters.
They're one of the best teams in the AFC. Their defense is pretty ferocious. As for the Bengals, they're 3-1, and they only scored 3 points in this game, and those 3 points came in the fourth quarter.
I mean, give Joey Burrow a break, because he is playing the former MVP of last season.
Gotcha.
So.
Well, listen, Zach Taylor is the head coach of this team. He basically got this job due to his association to LA Rams coach Sean McVay's familiarity with his system, and the Sean McVay effect. Everyone wanted a Sean McVay on their team. If the Bengals don't improve this season, do you see this as Zach Taylor's last season for the Bengals, considering this is his second season now?
For sure, if he doesn't continue to make plays or design any new offensive plays or do well defensively, he would have to go.
Most likely,
you have to be a winner.
I think Zach Taylor is just in over his head as a head coach. He wasn't given much to work with. Granted, I think his job really depends on the development of Joey Burrow and how he plays, despite the record. So I think despite the record, if Joe Burrow plays well this season, you're probably going to see Zach Taylor back. And if he does, and if he has an uneven season, you're probably not going to see Zach Taylor. So that's that.
Agreed.
In our next game, we had the Texans finally getting their first win of the season, winning at home 30-14 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars, the first team to lose 3 straight weeks against winless teams. The Jags are a stripped team, right? I think Gardner Minshew is a good quarterback. I won't say he's super good or super talented, but he's a good quarterback. He just doesn't have the weapons, in my opinion. As for the Texans, they're 1-4 now. Their first win of the season, and it happens after. It happens after Bill O'Brien gets fired. Do you feel like the Texans can turn the season around? I asked this question before already. But now that they have their first win with Bill O'Brien out of the way, who is more likely to turn their season around, the Texans or the Jaguars?
That's actually a really tough question.
That's a great question.
With both teams, go ahead. Sorry, Raul.
No, it's all right. I mean, off the back of my head, at this point in the schedule, is it too late to get a hot run started?
Well,
I don't know.
I don't think we'll expect either team to make a playoff run. I mean, the Texans, I would say with their talent level, they probably have the more likely ability to make a playoff run after this. But it's about expectations. So if the Jaguars at 1-4 end up the season at 7-9 or 8-8, that would be, I would say, considered a success, considering that they stripped all their parts. Now, as for the Texans, they have some talent already, especially with Deshaun Watson in place. A playoff appearance might be the only way they actually turn around a season. So it's all about expectations at this point. Who do you think would turn their season around?
None.
Okay. All right. What about you, KJ?
I would have to say the Houston Texans, because I am a believer of Deshaun Watson, and I do believe that he'll continue to progress at a higher level than he is right now, just because I'm a fan of his.
Yeah, but it's tough to do without having DeAndre Hopkins. You have DeAndre Hopkins your entire career, and then all of a sudden you have your best weapon taken away from you, especially now from the now fired Bill O'Brien. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be tough.
For sure.
In our next game, we had the Dolphins, baby.
The Mermaids.
I think they scored the most points of the week. The Titans played tonight. So, but the Dolphins scored the most points of the week. They beat the 49ers.
Wow. But the 49ers, it's
17,
half a banged up team. They're all injured.
Very true. But they did have Mostert and they did have Jimmy Garoppolo back. Although Jimmy Garoppolo is battling
from an injury.
They're coming back from injury. But most pundits had the 49ers bouncing back. Most of them people had the 49ers winning by 6 to 10 points.
We did last week.
Yeah.
Last week.
Well, you took the Dolphins. Raul took the 49ers, and I took the Dolphins.
I'll put it like this, guys. Yeah, it's a win, but are you expecting or are you gonna get more results like this? I don't think so.
Ooh, that shot's right back to you, Kyle, from earlier.
Listen, Fitzmagic played magically, might I add. He went 22 for 28, 350 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Wow.
And a couple of those touchdowns were beautiful passes. And, that's just Fitzmagic for you. He's bang or bust.
And I'm not surprised because he gave the Jets the same results. Yeah. But is he going to continue this and can be consistent?
Again, Fitzmagic holds the record for most touchdown passes thrown in Jets history. Just throwing that out there.
And I wouldn't
more shots.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he does that in Miami. But is he going to be a playoff quarterback in a playoff team? Nope.
Well, my question to you from this game is, do you see the 49ers making the playoffs?
Nope.
Especially now after this loss.
Nope.
You know what's crazy? I was overhearing I believe ESPN or one of the analysts talking about it, and they were just really trashing Jimmy Garoppolo and how he isn't.
Yeah, he
he isn't
really
that
bad.
quarterback. He isn't that.
He was like 7
quarterback.
for 17 for like 80 yards and 2 interceptions, and both of them were duck interceptions. They were really terrible. But he had a sprained ankle. Listen, he's coming off a Super Bowl season where he played decent. He played well, very well at points during the season. Is Jimmy Garoppolo the answer at quarterback for this 49ers team? No?
Yeah, I say a big no.
I think that if he plays decent, if he plays mediocre this season, I feel like he's going to be gone, or they're going to draft his replacement in next year's draft.
Most likely.
We also have our next game, the Browns beating the Colts at home,
Yes, sir.
32-23.
The Brownies.
Yes, sir.
The Browns are 4-1 at this point. Their offense is clicking, and yet it seems like not all the numbers are completely there. Like Baker Mayfield played pretty decently.
He played well.
He played
very well.
Just the offense played decently in general, right? Yet it seems like every week the Browns don't look great, but they do just enough to win, right? Am I tripping, or am I correct in saying that?
In some
Totally
way,
agree.
yes, but I guess in the end of the day, if it's a win on paper, it's a win.
Yeah, Baker
I
Mayfield,
agree.
2 touchdowns, but also 2 interceptions. Jarvis Landry had 4 receptions, 80 yards, and him and
Jarv.
OBJ had pretty nice catches, but
OBJ.
not numbers that were normally they're not
Yeah.
putting up numbers that we're normally accustomed to seeing.
I guess in other words, Kyle, and I'll put it like this, is when your offense is stacked up the way it is with so much great talent on paper, you expect them to win in a very fashionable way. They kind of are not.
Yeah.
They're winning by a very slim.
They have
ticket.
a weapons
slim
of
margin.
a high speed offense that's currently going at cruise control at 30.
Yeah.
That's what they're
Wow.
doing.
Yeah. And for the viewers listening to this, soon we'll have visual video of us doing this podcast. But you guys are not
For
seeing
sure.
KJ doing the latest TikTok OBJ dance right now.
Anyway, let's move on.
Hitting that.
Actually, no. Okay, my question to you is: are the Browns at 4-1? Are they serious contenders for the AFC North, or do you think still the class of the AFC North is still the Steelers and the Ravens?
The Browns are on top of the AFC North, above all teams that are.
All right, take
are
that
in
with
the
a grain of
division.
salt because their OBJ is on the Browns. So,
And Jarvis Landry,
all right, what
Let
about
me-
former Miami Dolphin.
let me ask you this question: who was in their division again?
Ravens and Steelers?
That says it all.
There you go. I feel the same way. In our next game, we had the Cowboys beating the Giants in a surprisingly close game, 37-34, which is amazing that the Giants even scored more than 20 points in this game, which is crazy. Unfortunately, we also had probably the saddest news of the week. Dak Prescott dislocating and fracturing his ankle.
Was it
And,
the left or the right?
I don't remember. I really don't remember, actually. But it was, one of the more worrisome injuries that we've seen viscerally. It was tough to see. It goes to show you the character of Dak, what Dak Prescott shows, how the NFL world, despite playing for the Cowboys, how most people feel about Dak Prescott. And many people were very sad. No one wants to see anybody go down with an injury like that. But, Dak Prescott is one of the good guys in the NFL. And it was tough for everyone to see. Dak Prescott, his character is well known in the NFL. So much so that Giants offensive coordinator and former Dallas Cowboy head coach, who was also the head coach for the beginning of Dak Prescott's career, Jason Garrett, came over and in a sign of this being a bigger moment than the game, got together with Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy, and they both looked over Dak Prescott. It was a sad day in the NFL to see such a young, promising player get injured like that, especially now, and not to bring money up in this, but in his contract year, he was playing on his franchise designation. And now we're going to have this weird see how he gets better, but also they have to offer him a contract at the end of the year, the Cowboys. So my question to you is, do the Cowboys keep Dak Prescott, especially if he tries to keep up the. Especially if he tries to, he goes for the contract that he was looking for prior to the beginning of the season. Do you think that the Cowboys keep him?
Well, seeing from the response around the league and seeing the response from the Cowboys organization, you could see that there's loyalty and respect and love for Dak Prescott. So with that question, I do see them keeping Dak Prescott. Before the injury, he's always been 100% healthy. He's always been there for the games and for the practices. I off top of my head, I don't recall any time that he had to step away from injury besides this. But you know what? Stick with him.
Okay. All right. What about you, Gary?
My piece goes out to Dak. I hope he does come through from this injury and come even stronger. I know how injuries are. So.
Yeah. Well, in our next game, we also had the Seahawks beating the Vikings in Seattle, 27-26. Really close game. Kirk Cousins, he had 249 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. He also had an interception. Russell Wilson went 3-1 touchdown interception ratio, 217 yards. Undefeated of the season. However, the Seattle defense has been giving up yards left and right, and right now they're on pace for most yards allowed in the history of NFL. So we know Seattle is one of the best teams in NFC, mainly because of Russell Wilson. Do you think that in the playoffs this defense will crumble and prevent them from a Super Bowl berth?
It could, definitely could.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Kyle, you're not respecting the Seattle Seahawks defense because one of the great defenses I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, but that's their reputation. Right now, they're giving up the most. They're on pace to give up, surpass the 2012 New Orleans Saints for most yards allowed. So, do you think that this will be a problem that will keep them from making the Super Bowl?
I say it might be a problem, but I think they'll be okay throughout the long haul of the season.
Okay.
And eventually in the playoffs.
I think that if they don't shore up this defense, you could see them being bounced out of the divisionals or the league championship. I mean the national the NFC championship. Oh, I'm tripping today, guys. I'm so sorry.
I mean, this game against the Vikings, talk about cutting it short.
Yeah,
1 point.
27-26.
And then the game prior to this against the Dolphins, they let a couple of...
Yeah, it was close up until the end. So, it says a lot.
And that's something to...
Good point.
To definitely be cautious about, for sure.
So, also, for the Monday night game, we also had the Saints beating the Chargers in a really close game, 30-27 in New Orleans. Yes, the Saints won. They are currently sitting at 3-2. But let's talk about Justin Herbert. 4 touchdowns, 264 yards, and 4 touchdowns for a rating of 122.7.
Very impressive.
The Saints, they have 2 losses early in the season, but the Saints are going to be the Saints. They still have Drew Brees. Taysom Hill didn't play particularly well, but he did score the game-winning touchdown, essentially. So, but my thing to you is, could Justin Herbert be the better rookie quarterback by the end of the season? We have Joe Burrow playing. Tua is not playing right now because he's sitting behind Ryan Fitzpatrick. But do you think at the end of the season we're gonna have Justin Herbert as the NFL Rookie of the Year?
He's showing it. He's putting up the numbers.
Yeah, that's true. 4 touchdowns. Yeah,
he's a dog.
Yeah, even though the Chargers are 1-4, I mean, some of the throws he's made has been pretty amazing.
And talk about a blessing in disguise. If it wasn't for their starter quarterback getting injured, who would have thought that Justin?
No, he didn't get injured. He got he got stabbed by the team doctor.
Crazy.
Let me rephrase that. If it wasn't for the doc stabbing
Tyrod Taylor,
we wouldn't see Justin Cages. So what do you think
about Justin Herbert?
No, well, prior to Cages,
do you think
Kyle's question?
Yeah, do you think Justin Herbert is gonna win the NFL Rookie of the Year?
It honestly depends on just future games they'll be playing and who plays better, who throws more touchdowns,
but I think so far
who
he's
gets
on
more
pace.
wins.
Well, anyways, let's move on to next week, guys. We're gonna offer our
it.
predictions lightning quick.
I'll do it.
Here we go. We have Houston at
Let's get it,
Tennessee.
baby.
Who do you have winning?
That's a tough one. Oh, Tennessee.
Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. Let's rewind, actually, because Tennessee actually played tonight in a very rare Tuesday night game, making up for their original play time. They actually put the brakes. They beat the brakes off the Josh Allen-led Bills. The Bills, who a lot of people have as one of the best teams, they get destroyed by Tennessee 42-16. Josh Allen, 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. I guess he played okay. Ryan Tannehill, again, a typical Tennessee Titans Ryan Tannehill game, 195 yards with 3 touchdowns. And it wasn't even like the rushing was crazy. Derrick Henry only had 57 yards, but he did have 2 touchdowns. And Ryan Tannehill ran for touchdowns. So that he accounted for 4 touchdowns, Ryan Tannehill. So Tennessee back in the fold, back playing from their coronavirus outbreak. The Buffalo Bills suffering their worst loss of the season and their first loss of the season. So let me ask you this. Who is the bigger AFC favorite at this point right now, Buffalo or Tennessee? Yeah, it's easy to say because Tennessee did whoop the Buffalo Bills' ass. But who do you think has a better path to the playoff? I mean, a better path to the Super Bowl at this point?
I mean, Tennessee's picking up from where they left off last year.
Absolutely.
True.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say Tennessee. What about you, KJ?
I like Josh Allen.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah,
I like Josh Allen and the Bills.
So you think this is just a hiccup for the Bills, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
They're still 4-1. They still they're still okay.
All right. Well, moving on to next week, I want your lightning quick predictions for the matchups for next week, guys. All right. So we're gonna start off. We have Houston at Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I'm taking the Titans.
Titans as well. We have Cincinnati at Indianapolis.
Indy.
I'll go with the Bengals for this one.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Phillip Rivers in Indianapolis, but it will be a close match, I believe. We also have Atlanta at Minnesota.
Ooh.
Minnesota.
I'm picking the Falcons this one with the upset.
Well, who knows? Like the Texans, maybe they get a boost after letting Dan Quinn go. But I think Dan Quinn was more beloved than Bill O'Brien, so I think that Minnesota beats Atlanta. We have Denver at New England.
Patriots.
I'm going Patriots.
Is
all the
Cam
way.
back?
I'm not sure. We have to look that up.
That's actually interesting.
But if Cam is back, I definitely have New England winning. Yeah. We have the Washington football team at the New York Giants.
The Giants.
Wow. Okay.
As a New Yorker, you got to go for the Giants. You can't go
No, I could definitely say don't go for the Giants.
Well, I think that their previous offensive performance against the Cowboys probably will bring them momentum. So I think that New York actually gets their first win against the very flawed Washington team. We have Baltimore at Philly.
The Ravens.
Gotta go with the Ravens.
Ravens as well. We have a sweep there. Cleveland at
My
Pittsburgh.
game of the week.
AFC North matchup.
Battle Bro matchup.
Yeah, so who do you have?
I got OBJ.
Oh, God.
I got Juju.
I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh, and who knows? Maybe they get They sign Le'Veon Bell before the beginning of the game. Who knows? That'd be interesting.
Is that an actual possibility?
Could be. We have Chicago at Carolina.
I'm going Bears.
Intriguing matchup.
Bears.
I'm gonna go with Carolina. I think Teddy Bridgewater is doing pretty well right now. He's playing on a high level. We have Detroit at Jacksonville.
That's an ugly game.
Yeah, that's a pretty toss-up game there.
Yeah, I'm going with. I think Gardner Minshew gets back in the win column this week.
Taking Detroit and Matthew Stafford.
Okay.
The Jags.
All right. And we have a battle of Adam Gase-led teams.
Shit.
Well, this is an even uglier game.
We have the New York Jets at Miami, and you know who the fuck I'm gonna pick? Dolphins all day.
I'm taking the Dolphins for sure.
Oh, this is gonna be tough for Raul. Who do you have winning?
Jets, bro.
Who do you have winning?
You cannot.
Now that you got rid of your best offensive weapon.
Why would they do?
Well,
Whatever,
if
Jets.
I'm not slapping my forehead across the face, I'm just gonna go ahead and say, "Can I get another beer, please?" Pass.
I think what Raul's trying to say is that he's going for the team that doesn't have Adam Gase as the head coach.
You know what? For the sake of me never saying the Dolphins, I'm gonna go ahead and say the Jets.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Well,
Gotta.
can't wait to hear our next podcast. But we have Green Bay at
Game of the
Tampa
week.
Bay, the battle
Game
of
of
the
the week.
Bays.
Ooh, game of the week or no?
Even though Green Bay is, I don't think they're even nearby like water like that. But okay. But anyway, I have Tampa Bay winning.
I'm taking Tom Brady.
Yeah, I'm taking Tom Brady in a mild upset.
What?
Yeah.
Damn, that's how much he likes Tom Brady because he's going against Aaron Rodgers.
I think
That he likes Tom Brady.
I think if this was in Green Bay wins. But I think because they're playing in Tampa.
But I mean,
yeah.
at this
It's hot in
point, without
Tampa.
fans,
It's hot in Tampa.
Yeah, and Tampa, but Tampa's used to playing in the heat, and Green Bay they're not. So they're going.
He is the best to play.
not for
football.
not sometimes.
I'd rather play in the heat than in the cold.
Yeah,
so
sometimes hot weather teams have the advantage. Look at Miami; they always have the advantage in the beginning of the season because
They
get
always
super hot.
lose though.
I mean, when they were good, guys.
Aaron Rodgers is gonna
What
be.
is he
Aaron
talking
Rodgers.
about, guys? Honey
Okay.
Bunches
Well,
of Ghost fan.
listen. Tom Brady threw for 5 touchdowns in the week before the game against the Bears. So we have that. We have Los Angeles at San Fran. I think with San Fran's performance against the Miami Dolphins, I think Los Angeles is going to take it.
I agree.
Yeah,
Taking
same
LA.
here.
Battle of Cali right there. We also have for the Monday night game, we have a doubleheader for the Monday night game, guys.
Shit.
We have Kansas City at Buffalo. I have Pat Mahomes because why would I go against Pat Mahomes? Even though I did pick him against the Raiders.
I'm going Pat Mahomes as well. KC.
I'll go
Tyreek
with
Hill.
Pat Mahomes.
All right, okay. We also have Arizona at Dallas. Dallas no longer having Dak Prescott at quarterback. I think that's going to be super tough. And
Who's
I have
starting?
Kyler Murray beating them.
Who's starting for the Dallas Cowboys? Sorry to cut you off.
Former Cincinnati
Yeah,
Bengals
Andy
quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Red Rocket. So I guess we all are in unison here. Arizona.
Arizona.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that concludes our NFL news for the week. So, hey, it's been pretty exciting in the NFL season. And now we move on to the end of the NBA season, which I'm pretty sure my brother is going to be very excited for.
Go. JR, you already know.
All right. Well, in the NBA bubble championship, we had the Los Angeles Lakers winning the championship against the Miami Heat in 6 games, in which I predicted that they would win in 6 games.
You predicted right.
Yeah, LeBron James won his 4th championship.
Woo!
Woo!
I'm flexing here, guys.
It was an interesting series, not as entertaining as one would like, especially with the Miami Heat losing Goran Dragic and Bam Adebayo being injured. But we have credit where credit's due. LeBron James and Lakers did their thing this season in the bubble, and they played well in these playoffs. There's a lot to dissect here. In terms of the games, KJ, you were watching the games. You tell me what you saw in Game 6.
Well, the Game 6 started out pretty much a brawl, going back and forth, baskets between one another.
Yeah, but weren't the Lakers up by 30 by halftime though?
At a certain point, yeah, maybe in the second quarter, right, Raul? Maybe 6 minutes
I
left.
stopped watching on the third quarter.
Yeah, we called each other. He was like, yeah, I'm not watching the game anymore. The Lakers are taking it. I was like, you know what, Raul? Not yet. Wait till it's over. And when it finally happened.
Well, they did cut it down to 13 points, but I mean, that was that was already garbage time at that point.
For sure, yeah, during the later portion of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But they took over, like you said, from the second half to the third quarter maybe. They even got it as high as 30 points. So it looked like a mismatch. This last game of the finals.
And who did you have as your as the game's best player? Let me take a wild guess, Raul.
You're gonna be surprised when I say
Alex
this.
Caruso, right?
I mean,
or I guess for KJ, LeBron James.
One thing about this Los Angeles Lakers team this year in 2020, what I observed from them is just without everyone on their team, they wouldn't be champions today. You know, I just feel like Alex Caruso, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Rajon Rondo, Kyle Kuzma, Markieff Morris, Dwight Howard, everyone played a role in this championship this year. And
except for J.R. Smith.
Except definitely J.R. Smith.
You know, J.R. Smith was getting Smidak before every game. I'm sorry.
He does look smacked at times when he's inserted.
What do you mean he does look smacked?
He does.
He really does. He looks smacked when he's sober.
No, does he not look like he's faded? Like he just...
I'd be surprised if he's faded.
I think their main focus in the league is testing for corona and not for anything else. So they just put it that way.
But yeah, like we were saying, you know, just the Lakers ended up demolishing the Miami Heat. And we're definitely a mismatch for the Heat. Jimmy Butler was tired. Everyone just, you know, they didn't look like it. You know, even though Goran Dragic did come back after his
But yeah, he's not the same Goran Dragic that we saw in the playoffs.
The Boston series,
Yeah, so
look, respect to the Lakers. They had, I want to say, a few of the underdog players in that team to step up for them to win the championship.
Caldwell-Pope,
yep.
Contavious.
He really did step up. You have Rondo, which vintage Rondo, playoff Rondo. He definitely came in and assisted.
He played super good, especially in that first half. He was balling.
Yeah, and also just goes to show how such a great impact Anthony Davis had for the Lakers.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, LeBron James, meat and potatoes player of the you know, most of the games in the playoffs, but Anthony Davis, man, he just same thing, meat and potatoes, but you know, it shows a lot about this team, especially how they closed out games in this particular finals. Once they had the lead, they just, you know, took it. Despite those two losses where Jimmy Butler played like a superhuman, they just, you know, ran away with the game at a certain point, and definitely happened. It happened very early in this game clinching and this you know, series clinching game. You know.
Are you congratulating LeBron James right now, or you're not doing?
I mean, I can't not congratulate him. I mean, he won his fourth championship. Arguably top 5 NBA player of all time. Certainly, maybe not the MVP of the season, but you know, you can argue best player in the NBA. You know, what can I say? He won his 4th championship, and it's supremely impressive the amount of NBA finals he's made it to. So like, if you start from his first finals appearance, he's made every NBA finals except for 2010 and last year 2019.
Which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. So, you know,
very impressive.
Let me go ahead and ask you guys a question. Did you guys predict the Heat ever being in this finals?
No, I think we all had either Boston or Milwaukee. So it goes to show you like how well Miami played.
And respect to Miami, guys.
Respect to Miami. Respect to Eric Spoelstra, who a lot of people felt was the weakest link of those Miami teams. And when LeBron, D Wade, and Bosh were playing, but it goes to show you what Pat Riley sees in Eric Spoelstra in terms of his coaching prowess and his overall leadership of men. You know, Eric Spoelstra is a fantastic coach. Fantastic coach.
Quick question, guys. Moving forward for next season, what do you think the Heat need to get back to this picture and actually win?
Considering their offensive weapons, there is some type of softness outside of Jimmy Butler that the Heat team, this Heat team needs. They need like an interior defensive presence who is also, you know, a guy who won't take any shit either, like Jimmy Butler. So I'm not saying that the team is soft, not by any means, but I think that they rely way too heavily on Jimmy Butler, at this point, and I think they just need another presence. A leadership presence, especially inside the interior paint. But it goes to the question, KJ. Now, like we were discussing, why don't you introduce the topic?
So yeah,
oh God,
guys,
he's gonna milk it.
I have to milk it, guys. So, you know, my question is LeBron James the greatest player of all time?
No.
That's the first question.
No.
That's my first question.
You can argue he's the second greatest player of all time.
And if you're going to argue that, it's going to be between Kobe and LeBron for that spot.
Yeah, yeah.
You know how I feel about that.
So basically, what my brother's trying to say is MJ or LeBron, who is the best player of all time? You know what? It's all about immediacy. You know, LeBron James just won his 4th championship, and you know, much congratulations to him. You know, he deserved it. And listen, you can make an argument he's the second greatest player of all time, right? At the end of the day, there's just too many factors in Michael Jordan's case that makes him the greatest player of all time, culturally, on the basketball court, and like just in general, his legacy. Most people want to argue semantics and all that stuff. Listen, at the end of the day, Jordan was 6-0 in the finals. Never made it to Game 7. And once he figured out how to win, after that first championship, he never lost again. Yeah, he played for the Washington Wizards, but that was more of a charity case than anything, playing for the Wizards.
Agreed.
But once he started winning those championships, he never lost. Yeah, he lost to Orlando Magic in '95 when he came back in his abbreviated season appearance, and he wasn't in basketball shape. But you saw what happened when he got eliminated by Orlando. One of the greatest teams, one of the best teams to not win a championship, or the Orlando Magic, he swept them in the next season, and 6-0 in the playoffs. I think in just metrics in general, you know, you can throw LeBron James stats up, yeah, but Michael Jordan won 10 straight scoring championships, 1 Defensive Player of the Year,
6
multiple
Finals MVP,
and multiple all defensive teams, all NBA defensive teams. So we can argue here and that. Listen, at the end of the day, 6-0 in the finals. And yeah, now if you want to make an argument for LeBron, second greatest player of all time, yeah, okay, yeah, we can do that, absolutely. But I'm not gonna entertain who's the greatest of all time. Period. The only way that LeBron James can overtake that conversation.
He has to win 6 championships.
No, not even that. He probably has to win like 8 or 9 because he lost 6. He's lost 6 NBA finals.
That goes to my next question, guys. So if Michael Jordan had the same amount of appearances, which is 10 appearances in the finals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he would win more championships?
Well, a lot of people like to imagine, had he never retired, had he never had his first retirement, you can argue that he would have won 8 in a row. Now that would have been really tough, you know, especially against those Houston Rocket teams with Hakeem Olajuwon. Because remember, in the 90s, it was a lot harder league back then. Not only just in terms of toughness, but just a lot better teams in general overall. And a lot of people say about talent and all that stuff. Listen, most of those players came straight out of college, polished, and a lot of those players back then, in terms of skill level, were a lot better. Yeah, the big guys now can shoot threes, but in terms of actual like moves and skills, like who other than Joel Embiid, who sometimes puts his back to the basket. Other than Joel Embiid, what other player plays extremely well with his back to the basket? You know, yeah, you could put LeBron James there, but he's more inside out type of player. You could also put Giannis Antetokounmpo, but he's more of a dribble drive type of player at this point. So you know, it was a lot tougher league. But listen, Raul, what do you feel?
I think you said everything for me, man.
Thank you, Raul.
That's you got at this point. You could just drop the mic.
Yeah, 6-0. That's all you gotta say. 6-0. What about you
guys? Don't lie to the Honey Bunches of Ghosts because you guys are LeBron haters as well. So you guys team up together against me.
I am a LeBron hater, but I will also say he's the best player in the league. Arguably the second best player of all time. But if you just want to talk stats, if you want to, like I said, immediacy. But, you know, after 2011, which he played awful, and a lot of people say he's not the greatest. After he got destroyed by the San Antonio Spurs, a lot of people weren't saying he was the best. After, he had that great NBA 2016 season, but he eventually went 1-3 against the Warriors in the finals. So he lost 3 and he won 1.
So when somebody, after winning an NBA championship, goes and starts ranting, Coach Vogel needs his respect. Damn, I need my respect. That just goes to show you what he lacks in. You already won the championship. Take your horse and ride it to the sunset. No need to say anything.
Yeah, I think and especially
Be
with social
humble
media.
about it, right?
No, but especially with social media, like LeBron. No one's saying LeBron James is trash. They're just saying you're never going to be as good as Jordan. Like, now, are you going to be the second best player of all time? I think most people would agree. You know, you could make an argument that he even if you don't agree, you can understand the argument for second greatest player of all time. But in terms of Jordan, 6-0. That's it.
You can also make an argument that LeBron James has a better top 50 play highlight than Michael Jordan
No.
does. You could argue that for sure.
No.
Michael Jordan's brand, his iconic logo,
True.
is arguably top 5 memorable highlight in sports history, known around the world. So that just says it there.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is no disrespect to all the accomplishments that LeBron James has, but if you want to compare two GOATs, the king and the number one player, in my opinion, will have to be MJ. And to what Kyle said, second best player, that could be an argument that I could definitely linger. But from then on,
I definitely agree with LeBron that I understand why he wants his respect right now.
I agree. I understand why he.
You have
he
to
feels
understand
that
why
way,
he wants his respect, because he did win his fourth finals. Fourth finals. He did win his fourth finals championship.
But let me ask you something.
He did what he had to do.
But let me ask you a question. I mean, after this performance, credit is gonna be showed, and respect is gonna be due. And I respect him. So with respect comes time, and let the time go. There's no need to
rush.
Rant for respect. You know what I mean?
Nah, I totally agree.
Let greatness speak for itself.
True. Yeah. Moving forward to the next topic.
Hey guys, we also we're in the middle of the MLB playoffs at this point right now. The Yankees unfortunately lost to the Tampa Bay Rays 2-1 in their it was Game 5, which is in the best of 3 series. So unfortunately, as Yankee fans, we're in a Yankee-less postseason. But right now we have a pretty dope series. It's a pretty dope series right now. We have Tampa Bay facing the Houston garbage can Astros.
Who, the cheaters?
Oh yeah, that's
okay. Now I know who you're talking about.
They're up 2-0. Tampa Bay is up 2-0.
Yeah, and they're currently up 5-2 in the 6th inning. Let's hope that the fucking Tampa Bay Rays sweep the Houston Astros. But we also have the Atlanta beating the Dodgers again, and they're up 2-0, which is very surprising because everyone had the LA Dodgers as lock-ins for the World Series. So right now we have 2 teams currently at 2-0, and if everything goes to plan, Tampa Bay will be up 3-0. Are we surprised that the series have been lopsided so far?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think we're all surprised.
We had the Dodgers.
I think we had all the Dodgers kind of winning the NLCS, and right now they're in a 2-0 hole. Yeah, let me not hold my breath because they are the Dodgers, and it's still the Braves are only halfway there right now. But it's pretty surprising how these series have been lopsided. Now, do you think either team can overcome these deficits? And which team is it?
I do like the Atlanta Braves. So if the Atlanta Braves win Game 3, I'll be happy for them. The more team that I feel like would come back from a deficit like this would be the Astros. Hopefully not though, but definitely the Astros.
Okay, all right. I think that it's easier to say because the Rays are up 5-2 with the 2-game lead already in the ALCS, but I think if there's any team that could pull out of a 2-0 hole at this point is the Dodgers. But I hope to be wrong because I wouldn't mind seeing the Braves. I was never a Braves fan growing up simply because they were so good pitching. Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, and Greg Maddux. I just hated them, but they were so fucking good. That's why I hated them. But Atlanta, this is their first postseason where they actually advanced past the first round. So it would be nice to see Atlanta back in the World Series. Would it be a sexy World Series with Tampa Bay versus Atlanta? Not at all. But you know what? They are two excellent baseball teams, played very well during the regular season. And, you know, to see them in the World Series, it would be pretty interesting. So, you know, let's see where it goes. I like I said, we can't. It's too late to make predictions now, especially with the teams already, you know, 2-0. But let's see how the rest of the postseason goes. It's been a pretty decent postseason, and considering all the complications the coronavirus has wreaked havoc on the world. So there you go, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Moving
on to our main topic of the evening, guys, because as you know, Honey Bunches of Goats podcast is primarily a boxing podcast. We have possibly the most anticipated fight of the year. Vasily Lomachenko versus
Teofimo Lopez
from Brooklyn.
From the BK.
I think we can go into so many different topics here, right? I think I want to hear from you, Raul. I want to hear your analysis of this fight first, and I want to hear your predictions.
Hell yeah. I'll break it down. So, where to start, guys? First off, super excited. I feel like we've been waiting for this fight forever. Of course, COVID coming in and postponing everything and messing everything up sucked. But just to know that this is free on ESPN, huge of a plus. Now, to break down this fight, Loma, in order to fight this fight, in my opinion, he's going to need to fight this at a distance. Mm-hmm. Box him out, do your flashy angle shots, pivot, move the ring the way he usually does in classic style. I wouldn't necessarily want him to try to slug him out in the inside, because that's when we all know that Teofimo Lopez is the most dangerous. Mm-hmm. See what happened to Comey, where they slugged it out in the second round, and they both exchanged, but obviously Teofimo Lopez.
They both threw right hands at the same time. Yeah,
got the best out of him. Mm-hmm. This is something that Lomachenko does not want to be in. So if you're gonna fight a fighter that aggressive and that powerful, you're gonna want to box him smart. And I think boxing smart is something Lomachenko could definitely do.
Yeah, I think it's the experience factor is, I think, the determining issue in this fight. Lopez is a great talent. For a 135-pounder, he has welterweight power in his hands. And he has power in both hands, don't get me wrong. And that fight against Richard Comey, you know, was really impressive. You know, Comey is maybe not an elite fighter, but certainly a fighter that's respected, especially at 135. And he's no pushover either. He can bang. He has a right hand to Richard Comey, and he got knocked out. I think just experience will rule the day in this throughout the fight. Lomachenko's a lefty and has excellent footwork. Lopez, a righty with pop in both hands, but especially his right hand. He's going to be going after Lomachenko. I think that you're probably going to see the first 30 seconds where Lopez is trying to gauge distance, and I think then he's going to just try to see if he can just try to bully Lomachenko at that point. I think Lopez will have his moments, just like
Linares?
Jorge Linares had in his fight against Lomachenko. And, you know, he did knock down Lomachenko. Although it was a balanced shot that knocked him down, he did knock down Lomachenko. But, you know, Lomachenko was, bothered by that shot. And you saw the rest of that round, he's kind of like a little bit backpedaling. So he felt, Linares' power. And Linares, while he may not have the same power as Lopez, it's comparable. You know, Linares' power, especially in his right hand. It's just Lomachenko's footwork is so clean and so precise and so beautiful to watch that I think that he will kind of lull Lopez into to draw him in and set up traps and kind of just bury him in volume once he has Lopez on the defensive. Now, I did see. I always bring up the fight when we talk about Teofimo Lopez. I always bring up his fight against Nakatani, who was not a puncher whatsoever. And he doesn't have the same dimensions as Lomachenko. You know, he was a taller, right-handed fighter who was setting up his 1-2 and creating distance. But the thing about Lomachenko is, as a lefty, distance is, that's his game because he has such great footwork and such fluid hands that he changes angles so well and cuts distance so well. I think that it's going to cause problems for Teofimo Lopez, especially as, since Lomachenko's a lefty. You're going to see a lot like what Lomachenko did to Linares. He's going to go up, down, up, down. Now, will Lopez have his moments? Yeah, I can see him landing, straight rights. I can see him kind of also catching Lomachenko with his left hook as well. And it's going to be interesting to see if Lopez does get a nice shot on Lomachenko, how Lomachenko is going to take that punch. I just think Lomachenko is too smart to be caught dead cold with a shot like that.
All right. This Linares fight that I saw live, the one thing that I could say that Linares was his downfall, which we all saw, was his fatigue. He slowed down. He gassed out.
Well, remember his volume, Lomachenko's volume was the main reason why it slowed him down. Yeah.
But compared to Teofimo Lopez being the younger fighter, you think that could potentially happen to him too?
Yeah, because Lopez is so used to going for the knockout and kind of getting it that, like, for example, that fight against Nakatani went 12 rounds, and by the end of the 12th round, he looked fatigued. Although he did win that fight, he did not look good whatsoever. There are certain things that Lomachenko does to you, and one of those things is he makes you think. And remember what we were always talking about boxing. We sparred. I think the number one thing. Like, I can, when you hit the bag and you're in shape, you can hit the bag all day. You can hit all day. But once you start sparring, once you start fighting, what's the one thing that makes you tired the most? The thinking.
Overthinking.
The thinking gets you tired because your brain controls the body. And then if your brain is thinking and not used to working at somebody else's pace, it makes you more tired. Now, Teofimo Lopez, he's a professional boxer. It's a different story with him. But I think that what Lomachenko offers as a very versatile and supremely gifted technical boxer, he makes you overthink so much that by the time that you kind of have a decision to make or something that you want to do, he's already working a different angle. Kind of like what he did to Nicholas Walters.
Yes.
Walters, I think, fought pretty okay those first 2 rounds. In terms of like not getting hit, but you saw that he was just like he didn't know what to do at a certain point.
He did it to himself to the point where he got so aggravated he just quit.
Yeah.
He quit.
He wasn't particularly hurt by any shot.
No.
I think the volume bothered him a lot. Same thing with like Rigondeaux. I think the volume bothered him.
No mas.
Yeah, and it got him quit. Now, do I think that's gonna happen with Lopez? No. I think Lopez is too young. He's too young and naive to ever quit. And then B, Lopez is, more talented than those fighters, especially at 135. Those fights happening at the lighter weights.
So, a few details that I saw with the Linares and Lomachenko fight. I saw a little bit of holes in Loma's game plan that fight. Obviously, if you compare power, I think Teofimo has a little bit more pop to his punches.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, if he were in the same shoes and this Saturday, if he so happens to find that situation where he catches him at the right time in the right place with that power, it's not Linares. It's still Teofimo.
Yeah.
And with his youth, this is potentially going to go all 12 rounds. So, in other words, Lomachenko better be ready to get head hunted all 12 rounds.
Absolutely.
That's what I was going to add.
Right.
And one last thing, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Lomachenko, another little bad detail and thing that I do notice is he had problems with injuries in the past, and injuries occurred during a fight where he messed up a hand, but still
his
wrist, but still ended up winning the fight. Let's just hope for a great potential fight that no injuries occur, because if an injury does occur to Lomachenko during this fight, That could be a decision maker.
The fight that always kind of bothers me, especially with Lopez, is that Nakatani fight because, yeah, I mean, he was going through family issues at the time, and he wasn't 100% focused on that fight, and he will be 100% focused for this fight against Lomachenko. But Nakatani, who is a vastly inferior fighter to both Lomachenko and Lopez, was able to completely bother Lopez and kind of trap Lopez into consistently throwing like overthrown shots. Now I think that Lomachenko has the ability to kind of offer traps against Lopez that will kind of make him fall in love with his power and try to catch him. And if Lomachenko is very successful in terms of boxing, that to a point where he gets Lopez frustrated, you're going to see Lopez kind of overthrow like he did against Nakatani, where he's going to always try to catch him with a big shot. And Loma is too smart for that. I think you have to catch Loma. You have to kind of catch him coming in, and it's hard to do that. And yeah, Linares is able to do that absolutely. But we also saw what happened with Linares. Lomachenko isn't what you consider a guy with a lot of power. And I think not only just the volume bothered him, but that power shot to the body bothered him. And, we never seen – I think that, Lopez can definitely take a shot. And I don't see Lomachenko knocking out Lopez whatsoever. But I definitely see the volume and the skill kind of like eventually making its way up. I think Lopez is, in terms of like athletic talent, obviously more talented than Lomachenko. I just think like Lomachenko is so skilled and so experienced that he's going to be able to draw Lopez in and kind of like use Lopez's aggression against him. Because I don't think Lopez can outbox Lomachenko whatsoever. I think he's going to eventually have to bully him. And I don't think Lomachenko's at the point where he can let anybody bully him unless you're a 140-pounder. Because, he's really 100. Right now, he should be like either a 126 or 130 fighter. But he's fighting at lightweight because that's where all the big fights were. And I don't think that Lopez is – I mean, he's bigger than Lomachenko. I don't think he's big enough to kind of physically bully Lomachenko in order to beat him, especially as a lefty. I don't think that Lopez's feet are as fast to stay with him. Now, don't get me wrong. There's going to be points of the fight, especially rounds, where I see Lopez outworking Lomachenko with, just being physical with him and utilizing kind of his size against Lomachenko. But I think that those will be the rounds in which Lomachenko, I won't say take a break, but I think Lomachenko will step off the gas, just because of, his, fatigue, or he wants to pace himself. And I think Lopez will make it closer than it is. My overall prediction for this fight would, there was a question that you wanted to ask, right, KJ?
Oh, yeah. My question is, does this fight end in a knockout, or does it end up a unanimous decision?
It could go both ways.
It could. But I think we both agree if it's a knockout, it's going to be Lopez. And if it's going to be decision, it's going to be Lomachenko.
Yeah.
What do you feel?
Loma being the veteran fighter, the skilled fighter he is, he's not going to let himself get knocked out. Like you said earlier, the only way we see Lomachenko getting knocked out if he gets caught getting in, going in. Mm-hmm. I don't see him trying to tackle that aspect in that inside fight. Mm. He's going to try to outbox him and at a distance. If Teofimo rushes in, he might have success, but again, he's so quick with his feet, I doubt that's going to happen. Yeah. So the most likely outcome will be a decision for Loma.
Yeah, I feel the same way too. I think, I don't think Lopez will hurt Lomachenko in those rounds that he bullies Lomachenko, or he starts moving into Lomachenko. I think that the only points of the fight where he can hurt Lomachenko is if Lomachenko is having success, and then Lomachenko starts kind of sitting in the pocket and just throwing punches, kind of like like in his fights against Linares and Campbell. I mean, well, not Campbell, but in Linares and Crolla, where he kind of stays inside and kind of like uppercut. He throws that left uppercut sharp, and then a right hook to the body, and then a left hook. He kind of sometimes falls in love with his power once he gets comfortable against someone's punching power. He starts throwing multiple combinations, keeping his body in the same spot. I mean, he doesn't stay there for too long, but he stays there just long enough. And I think that that's going to be those spots where Lopez can catch him. you know. But I don't think that he's gonna catch him when he's aggressive. I think he's gonna catch him when Lomachenko gets too confident, especially when he's throwing flowing combinations. Unless Lomachenko consistently moves to his left and throws combinations as he's moving to Lopez's left.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if this scenario will happen where Teofimo Lopez does get a knockout and knocks him out.
I think
I wouldn't be surprised
it's least likely. It's least likely compared to Lomachenko the decision. Like in terms of percentages, I would probably have Lopez maybe at 8% or 8 to 10% chance of knocking him, catching him, knocking him out, as opposed to like a 90% chance that Lomachenko outboxes him. Because we all know if Teofimo tries to box with Lomachenko, you know, he's gonna lose. You know,
but I guess this is what makes everybody want to tune in and watch, because the possibilities of each fighter winning, it could be Teofimo, or it could be Lomachenko.
Yeah, I think the X factor goes to Lopez though, because he's young enough to absorb a loss to a pound for pound king like Lomachenko. So he has the ability to just leave it all out on the table.
Yeah, agree.
And kind of like, and that's the X factor. Like he's young enough to absorb a loss.
And he
like
should.
this.
And he should. If you're gonna fight somebody as that great of a fighter,
you have to go balls to the
and
wall.
especially a fighter that most people would avoid. Mm-hmm. You will have to go in with balls in.
Gotcha.
You bully him, leave everything on the table.
Okay, so what's your ultimate prediction? And if it's a decision, what do you see the rounds go score? Like I have my prediction is Lomachenko by decision, and I see it unanimous. You know, I mean, it is top ranked card, so maybe some controversy can happen. It could be a split decision, but I see Loma. I see a lot of close rounds, but I also see significant rounds for Lomachenko, and I think that Lomachenko is gonna win probably like 8 rounds to 4, with maybe 4 of those rounds being close. But I definitely see Lomachenko like dominating 4 rounds, and then everything else is gonna be close after that.
Style-wise, we know that Lomachenko is gonna box his ass off, so he's definitely gonna earn some points with decisions throughout rounds. But
and also let's not forget, Lomachenko has an underrated chin as well. Lopez has a great chin because he's a big lightweight, but I think Lomachenko has an underrated chin as well. You know,
for sure.
Yeah. What about you, KJ? Do you have any predictions?
It's tough because Teofimo, I'm hearing a lot about this guy. Especially this young cat. You guys are, talking about, how explosive he is and how much power he has. Mm-hmm. And, I can't really give my decision yet. If I had to, I would go with Lomachenko just because I've seen him fight more. Okay. But, to see an upset or maybe a draw at the end of the fight, controversial draw, you never know.
Never put it past Top Rank to create some controversy in its fights,
That's always happening in boxing.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens, And I just hope for a great fight because I'm definitely looking forward to this. And it's crazy that it's gonna be this Saturday. Like it feels like it's like 2 months until this fight happened. And then I remember reading a news article and it's like, oh, Lomachenko Lopez next week, and I'm like, what? Wait, hold on a second. Oh shit, it is next week. And then I realized, my God, it's already October.
Second week of October.
Yeah, it's already October 12th. What is it? Is the 12th today? It's 13th. Yeah. It's already October 13th right now. It's crazy how fast this year has been going.
My birthday is on the 16th.
Represent. We're gonna get lit. We're gonna get Mexican drunk.
Maybe.
Okay, maybe. I like to think that we will.
And the reason why I say maybe, guys, with Corona and everything going on,
you have to be careful regardless.
I've been very careful, guys, for the people listening in. Haven't been going partying, no outdoor seating, dining, none of that bullshit for me.
Except for Filipino food, those times we go.
Yeah, that was just probably once, but
regardless, we always stay careful.
Who could say no to Filipino food?
Hey guys, guess what?
Yes, sir.
It's that time of the podcast for our Mas Puta list and our goats of the week, guys.
Let's get to it.
Of course, as always, we're going to start with our Mas Puta list. I'm going to go with Raul. Raul, who is on your Mas Puta list?
I mean, if it wasn't bad enough, especially with the Le'Veon Bell news.
I think we're gonna work together on our Mas Puta list.
Yeah,
right?
maybe have the same. We could definitely contribute both.
Okay, so
to this Masputa
so
of
let's
the
do
week.
it together. All right. So your Masputa is the Jets,
The Jets and
and
then
my Masputa is Adam Gase.
Adam Gase.
So I want you to go first. As the Jets fan, I will give you that courtesy.
All right. Thank you for your courtesy, sir. But at this point, I think it's pretty obvious. My frustrations, my anger, and my hate.
And now you know like I said, how I felt that last season of Adam Gase.
Yep. So if it wasn't a bigger picture with the fire Gase movement, there should be now one with the firing. Well, not firing, the release of Le'Veon Bell. It's bad news after bad news after bad news. Even prior to the season starting, there was already bad news with the Jamal Adams trade.
And you could tell the culture at a certain point started getting toxic. I think when Jamal Adams was kind of making a stink about like not getting paid and not getting the extension, I think it was people were just saying, oh, it's just Jamal Adams being, whiny. And to a certain extent, yeah. But now I think like with how the season's going, it shows a lot.
Yeah. And, most people from the outside that really don't know what's really going on in the inside would definitely say that, hey, you know what, Jamal Adams looks like a whiner, like a diva, whatever, right? But now with all these events coming out in the media, was he really? Did he have something going on there? I would say yes.
I think he's still a diva, but I do not blame him for wanting to get him the fuck out of New York.
And Kyle, you got to put it this way, man. If you're in such a toxic environment,
yeah.
I don't care how I do it, I'm gonna get the fuck out of this place.
Yeah.
So if it comes out as diva-ish or whatever you want to call it, fuck it, I'm out. I'm in Seattle already, Yeah. I'm making that money, plus I'm in a playoff contender team.
Yeah.
Let alone I could potentially win a Super Bowl with this team.
And even before Adam Gase, just the Jets, they've been, ever since the Johnsons kind of like took over this team, it's been just highly dysfunctional,
I mean, it comes with being in the New York market, I guess.
Yeah.
You're in the media at all times. You're in the spotlight. So it doesn't help when your organization has a lot of shit going on. It just labels you as, quote unquote, a circus, which we've been labeled before.
Plenty of times.
Yeah, plenty of times. But, guys, we had our ups, but now we have plenty of downs.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else to tell you guys. The release of Le'Veon Bell just adds more fuel to this fire Gase movement. I don't know what possible positive could come out of anything this season. Maybe a potential great draft pick.
Could be.
But other than that, man, I don't know.
I mean, even though Sam Darnold was once a promising prospect,
he still is.
And I mean, to some extent, is it? But I mean, is it a point where maybe it's like damaged goods now because like what Gase did to him? And
I mean, I have a better question. What happened? We all see what happened to Tannehill. So it may not be a matter of is he damaged good in this team? Maybe
or is he just misused talent, right?
Either that, or he could potentially be a great player, but just not in the Jets.
Or at least not with Adam Gase, who is my Masputa of the week. Listen, as a Dolphins fan, and I've brought this up many a time on this podcast, I went through the Adam Gase experience. The only difference is that when we hired him, he had a coaching pedigree that wasn't questioned. He came from Denver, where he was lauded as Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator in his record-breaking season. As a coordinator, I guess at the time you couldn't argue with the fact that he did a great job because you saw how good Peyton Manning played, especially with such a diminished physical skill set at a certain point. There was some reasoning behind Adam Gase being lauded as a potential, next head coach in the NFL. And then when he got hired as a Miami head coach, he was brought in primarily to bring Ryan Tannehill to the next level. And they did have one good season where Ryan Tannehill played decently. Unfortunately, that season, Ryan Tannehill eventually got injured towards the end of the season in the midst of his best season, and it just didn't work out for us. But then the other seasons were just so dysfunctional, especially the seasons after that. And there was a common thread in which Adam Gase kind of alienated his best players, or just like alienated his players in general. And you saw that the main weakness in his coaching abilities was the lack of ability to connect to his players.
That's very important.
You are
coach.
Absolutely.
You're the head coach.
Yeah, you are a leader of men, and this is not college where you're dealing with college kids and they're easy to manipulate. Rah rah. No, these are grown ass men that you're coaching. So respect is a premium in the NFL, especially amongst players.
Yeah.
When you lose that, you much like Bill O'Brien found out, despite his making the playoffs a majority of his coaching tenure with the Texans, when you lose the players, like he lost J.J. Watt in that report in the week before he got fired, that was the point in which he lost the team, because J.J. Watt is the heart and soul of that Texans team. And when you lose the players, that's it. And you can argue Adam Gase lost the players last year, and they brought him back. And the first 2 games of the season, you can argue he lost the players again, and they still have him there. So Adam Gase is my mas puta of the week because he is clearly shown to be a bad NFL coach, bad NFL head coach. And so much so that now I wonder, like, when he eventually does get fired by the Jets, would any NFL team eventually bring him in as an offensive coordinator or assistant, because he just has such a toxic relationship with players? Like, will he be back in the NFL after he gets fired?
I wouldn't even want him as a water boy at this point.
I don't blame you for that. So it shows a lot about how bad Adam Gase is.
Put it this way, man.
As a communicator.
It's equivalent to having a bad boss. If you're working for somebody that's a bad boss, or in other words, a dick, will you want to work for him?
Yeah.
No,
definitely not.
No.
And then especially as dysfunctional as the New York Jets ownership is, you can give him the mas puta of the week too, because they haven't fired Adam Gase. I think I don't think there's one person who I've heard in media or just in general who has said, you know what, Adam Gase deserves to still be the coach. Let him finish out the season. No, I think everyone like universally says like, no, he needs to go. And then yet the Jets still have not fired him.
Yeah, does he get fired before the 2020 season is over?
Oh, you know what? They should have fired him already. I would not be surprised, because the Jets are the Jets. At least that the ownership is trash, that they keep him for the rest of the season, just so either A, to burn out and get a top pick, or B, they don't want to pay a fired coach anymore. Like, they just like, okay, finish the season, whatever. But then that also sends a signal to your fan base, like, yeah, we don't give a fuck about the season.
At this point, the only way I'm gonna bring the words out of my mouth, Adam Gase or the Jets, if I'm putting up for discussion, which is they're making a very strong statement and discussion for me, to put them as the mas puta of the year for me. Yeah. They're very strong candidates. So,
we will be getting to towards the end of the year.
To round down the year, definitely.
Yeah. I think another important point I want to point out before we move on to KJ's mas puta. If the ownership does not fire Adam Gase, it shows that the season, no one cares about. The ownership doesn't care about the season. And if that's the case, if you're a Jets player, then you definitely don't care. And it already shows that a lot of these Jets players are kind of like meh right now. And if that's the case, then what happens when, like, would it get so bad to a point where the Jets players, like at least the starters, maybe not the backups, because backups always want to play, but the starters are going to just be like, yeah, I'm injured, I don't want to play.
I mean, I don't believe.
Or they just come up with like, if there is a second wave of Corona, what if they say, oh yeah, I'm scared for the Corona, I don't want to play.
I don't blame them if they do.
I'm being very, very like dramatic, but I mean, it's also not out of the realm of possibility.
Kyle's having a field day with these Jets, bro.
As he should.
I think he should. I think it's more of a field day with Adam Gase, simply because I had such a bad taste in my mouth when he was at Miami head coach that it's easy for me to shit on.
I mean, KJ, I'm not taking any offense to all this because it's true. If it wasn't true, then I would say, hey, wait. Whoa. I would definitely draw a line in between everything, and then obviously state my argument. But there's no argument.
Well, let me tell you this, bro. I will end off this discussion with this.
Okay, bro.
How bad of a head coach Adam Gase is if he has a Jets fan and a Dolphins fan in agreement with each other?
He's pretty shitty fucking
bad.
coach.
All right, KJ. Anyways, your Masputa, who do you have?
Yeah, this is probably gonna hit you guys from left field, but my Masputa of the week is gonna be the New York Yankees.
What?
For disappointing New Yorkers, fans of theirs.
You know what? It's fair. I think that's fair.
A huge disappointing year where we expected Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez, DJ LeMahieu to kind of turn it up for the Yankees this year. And it didn't happen. It just never happened.
Yeah, and honestly, kid, you're right. A very inconsistent year of the Yankees, might I add, because they started very well. Then they went on a terrible, I think 5-15 run, and then they went back. They were really wildly inconsistent this year. But I don't blame you for having them as your Masputa.
Even more so for Gary Sanchez, who had another disappointing year, batting 147 in the 2020.
You can argue
season.
Other than
an abbreviated MLB 2027.
Other than home
season.
runs. Since his initial break, his initial season with the Yankees, which he was called up and played fantastic, he hasn't had a great season since. I think the season after was decent, good, and then ever since then, it's been mostly disappointing. I was asking, this question. Do you think Gary Sanchez sticks with the Yankees, or do you think he gets traded?
For me personally, I think his time is done in the New York Yankee pinstripe.
I kind of feel the same way too. I think if we can get a good package from him, yeah. But I'm sorry, KJ, and continue your.
Yeah, it's just very disappointing. He's someone that we needed this playoffs to get a big hit or make a big play for the Yankees.
You know what? Definitely a disappointing season for Yankees fans. And especially even just the regular season, we were getting asked by Tampa Bay, and unfortunately, I have to say the better team definitely won because Tampa Bay was a much better team throughout the regular season, and they were a better team in the series. So
wow, the only thing I could say to all that what KJ said is no cap,
no kizzy.
Anyway, moving on to our goats of the week. I'm gonna go with KJ because we all know who KJ's goat of the week is. So we're gonna give it to him. But Raul, let's put a timer on the LeBron gawk sucking. So let's put a timer for. Okay, ready?
Go.
Wait, hold on a second, KJ. Wait, before we're gonna put a timer. We're gonna give you 2 minutes.
I will be ranting.
We're gonna give him Raul. We're gonna give him pure silence for 2 minutes so he can let it all out. Okay.
Let him relax his reflex mouth and
let him all out. We're gonna time it right now. Ready, Raul? Okay.
Ready.
2 minutes, KJ. We're gonna shut the fuck up so you can just let it all out.
You're on the spotlight.
On your mark, get set. KJ's go to the week. Go.
Salud, guys. So my go to the week of this week being LeBron James securing his fourth finals championship, fourth finals MVP award, and securing the Lakers' 17th championship title, and just being an all-out GOAT, up there for debate with Michael Jordan. Is he better than Michael Jordan? In my opinion,
no.
I'm gonna say yes. In my opinion,
no.
He's my GOAT of the week.
No.
LeBron, I salute you. Cheers to you, my brother. I have a cigar and some glass of wine, and we'll get this going. Just an all-out amazing 2020 season LeBron had. Having Anthony Davis, securing him off from free agency, and just him taking over all year. Stats. Let's look up his stats, baby. Let's do it. Where the stats at? Okay, so he was scored 25.3 points per game, 7.8 rebounds a game, 10.2 assists. Who was first in the league? He was first in the league in assists, guys. You think MJ could ever lead the league in assists? Physically, with his talent and his skill set, can MJ outpass LeBron James, guys? Tell me.
Is your 2 minutes to shine? Go.
Giving you 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah,
you still got 30 seconds, bro.
Man, LeBron. What else can I say, man? I'm proud of you, my brother.
Just tell him that you love him.
My bad. Redo that.
You want him
LeBron,
you want to have his baby.
LeBron, what else can I say? My guy.
Tell him you have a poster in your room.
I wish I did.
I will.
I have a jersey coming in, by the way. Nike LeBron James jersey, yellow. By the way, keep a lookout for that new drip. You
might have to change the team eventually in like 2 years. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because wherever LeBron goes, I'm going there. Like that's who I'm rooting for.
So how many?
Okay, that's it. His time is up. That's it.
LeBron James, baby. number 5 next year.
Oh
Let's go.
God. Anyways, Raul. After that, because I almost vomited like 4 times. Who is your goat of the week?
Good thing I'm I'm not tipsy, but I wish I was tipsy for this.
I wish I was drunk for this.
Yeah, we're drunk. Yeah, in other words. But my goat of the week has to go to my cousin, Emmanuel
El Vaquero.
Navarrete.
Vaquero. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, give me my 2 minutes of shining.
Yeah.
Not kidding.
No more LeBron nut hugging at this point from now on. Okay.
But going back to my goat of the week, Emmanuel Vaquero Navarrete. I mean, bro, he has performances after performances, and he fights per year, like 5 to 6 fights.
That's an old school Mexican fighter right there.
Of course, and that just goes to show you the Mexican warrior in him.
Viva la raza!
And this is for la raza, and really is, man. He shows up for the people. Guys, if there was audience in attendance for this fight,
imagine if the Mexicans over here.
Imagine that, guys. How crazy the fight would have been, even more with the fans all electric. Shouting.
Can we play some I want to play some mariachi music as we.
No, he's a vaquero, man.
Yeah, man.
Mariachi.
Vaquero.
You guys don't know much about Mexican tradition, and his norteño, which is the vaquero, is norteño music.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in English, it's equivalent to
like country music.
Yeah, in a way.
So this is the OG shit right here.
Yeah,
right?
so we're gonna throw him a little norteño music for Vaquero Manuel.
Hopefully, we'll put that in the editing process for you.
Hell
right there,
yeah!
Right?
So shout out to my cousin, and look,
Pinche güey.
2021 is. Hey, the sky's the limit for this guy.
Especially
I wouldn't be surprised.
126, 130. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see him fighting 4 more fights in the year, 5 fights next year. So, fuck it, man. We need more great fights from him, and have the Navarrete family.
No mames, güey.
Up in the stands, you know.
Yeah, fuck it, man. Yeah, you know what? I'm a big fan of his fighting style. I saw Isaac Dogbo beat Jesse Magdaleno. And I was like, ooh, Dogbo, man. He looks like he's about to make a name for himself. And then in comes in Emmanuel Navarrete out of nowhere and beats, not only convincingly beats Dogbo the first time, but then knocks him out the second time. So, I'm very excited to see where his career takes him. Especially he's only 20, I think 25. He's only 25 years old, so he has plenty of years to go.
Yeah, I seen him live at the Garden with my boys, and I immediately knew who he was, and I was super stoked.
He was of course you knew what he was. He's your cousin.
No, but for casual fans in attendance, they didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
And I had to explain to him, this guy's the real deal. You guys are in for a show.
Yeah, I would love to see a fight with him and Josh Warrington. That would be a great fight. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, but it would be fun to see.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah, that's true.
2021, fuck it, who knows? But guys, you guys are basically brothers, so you guys will have to represent the Navarrete family.
Ya tú sabes.
Yeah, man.
I represent that hard.
Anyways, I'm just going to make this quick. My goat of the week is Derek Carr and the Raiders beating Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs in Kansas City, giving the Chiefs their first loss of the season. Listen, Derek Carr has been much maligned, especially since John Gruden has come to become the head coach. Listen, he was on the verge of becoming a MVP, I think in 2016, and then he got injured, and then he's been up and down since that season. Now he's also been up and down this season, but more ups than downs. And this game definitely showed what he's capable of, and what he's capable of, and what he still is capable of. His he was torching the Chiefs secondary all night, and him and Henry Ruggs, like again, who averaged over 50 yards per catch in this game, just burned the secondary of the Chiefs, and showed that. First of all, Pat Mahomes, the last couple of games hasn't been super impressive as we're used to seeing Pat Mahomes. So they definitely took advantage of that. So the Raiders defense deserves a lot of credit for keeping Mahomes in check, but also just Derek Carr playing close to his MVP level back in 2016. So, hey, my go to the week, Derek Carr and the Raiders. Like I said, beating the Super Bowl champions in Arrowhead. And that's I give him a lot of credit for that. So my go to the week, boom, Derek Carr and the Raiders. This was a great podcast, guys.
Episode 12, baby.
Episode 12.
Yeah, I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah, the next one we're gonna be covering the aftermath of the Lomachenko-Lopez fight.
Can't wait.
Yeah, and this fall and winter, there's some decent scraps going on.
Oh yeah.
December 4th, we have two cards. Unfortunately, going like we discussed last podcast, going against each other. But you know what? Hey, good fight. I'll take a good fight regardless, even if they happen to be opposing cards. So you have a lot of good things coming up. The rest of the NFL season. By next podcast, we should be discussing the World Series. A potential World Series between Atlanta and the Tampa Bay Rays, or if the teams flip it around, it could be the Dodgers and Astros. But next week we should have a lot of content to discuss. The sports world never stops, and hopefully we can get in a little more in depth topics on this podcast when it starts slowing down. We're always going to be covering boxing, and then until the NFL season ends, we're definitely be covering that. Listen, it's going to be exciting, and hopefully we can build on this. So everyone who's listening, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, Kyle, Raul, KJ, what up?
Cheers, guys.
Salud, you already know.
Honey Bunches of Goats podcast, episode number 12.
We out.
Wait, let's edit this out real quick if we have to. But did you know that LeBron has 5 more?
Okay, that's enough. Thank you guys. Bye.
Okay, bye. See you next week.